What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk a little bit about information, real information versus speculation, wishful thinking, just things that really aren't hardcore confirmation of information. So we all saw the trailer to NASCAR Heat 3, and there's a lot of things there that are pretty clear and represent features of the game. But then there are things that people have speculated on or taken their liberty to make assumptions about. We all do speculation. It's human nature. You look at something and you just kind of make your own assumptions based on a lot of things. I do the same as well. I try to use logic and past history or experience on certain things that kind of push things a certain way and lead me to believe certain things. Now, uh, I am obviously excited about this next game. If you've seen my last couple of videos, yes, I'm happy about a lot of things that have been confirmed. But that doesn't mean I'm running away with this idea that this is going to be the greatest game ever. I think those of you who do follow me and have seen my videos, I think you know that I'm not that type of person that is easily fooled or uh, just, takes things at face value. I do think about things and kind of analyze it first, and I try to be a realist. So most of my excitement is based on the things that were confirmed, whether it was by 704 or all of these articles that are popping up, these publications. Now, when it comes to that, I wanted to bring that up because there's a lot that I saw in a lot of these articles, right? Whether it's Operation Sports or Motorsports, whatever it was, there's a bunch of articles all over. Just Google NASCAR Heat 3 and you're going to see all these articles talking about the announcement. But the thing is, when you look at these publications, you have to take into account the fact that and maybe some of you guys don't realize, but these publications, they work hand in hand with these publishers and developers of video games. They have a relationship. Uh, there's a reason these guys get early uh, information, or they get like an opportunity to play the game. Like a lot of these guys talk about E3 and how they got a chance to play the game. Um, when you look at that, you have to take into account that they have a relationship, and a lot of a lot of these articles are based on real. I wouldn't call it 100% honest, concrete information, or even an honest opinion of the person writing these articles. You know, just reading these articles, even though I found things I really like, those things were based on things that were actually confirmed by 704 as information. And the things that I am excited about that I talked about are either confirmed by directly by 704 or the publication actually, when you got to look at the way they word things. So when they said that 704 did improve the AI and made it harder, they followed that up with a direct quote from 704 that said, "Yes, we heard the complaints about the AI, that it wasn't challenging enough from our more hardcore players, and we heard it and we are delivering. And the highest difficulty is going to be a lot more challenging." That is about as forward as you can be, really, when you talk about a feature, and that excites me because there's no room for interpretation. Whereas other comments, there's a lot of room for interpretation, and it's kind of not really based on facts. And you have to, when you read these articles, you have to learn how to decipher between what's real and what's hype. And not everybody can do that. And I'm not even, I'm not telling you that I have a psychic ability to know everything. I don't. But I do have a good track record, I think, of making predictions. When I talk about certain things, a lot of it has turned out to come out the way I said it would. Um, a lot of times I'll say things like, I told you so about certain things. And if you do follow my videos, I think you could agree that for the most part, even if it's not like 100% of the time, a lot of the things that I've talked about have really turned out to be the way I said it was. So take these articles with a grain of salt. When you look at it, you got to see what's hard, concrete information that's verifiable and has been confirmed by 704, whether it was a direct quote or something that just isn't left to interpretation. And when you tell me that yes, the AI has been increased in difficulty, and then you have that quote from 704, there's no room for interpretation. They said they worked on it. So that excites me. That's why I'm excited, because that's what I want to hear. Um, there's a lot we don't know, and we still have. This was just the first trailer, and 704 does need to come out, and they do need to address all these features because there's a lot of questions that people have. Now, I did see a video by Real Radman when he talked, and in that video he did say that he spoke to somebody at 704, and when he asked about the team ownership, he was able to confirm, certain things that we do already know. But when it came to hiring drivers, that was left in the air. And I mean, don't quote me, but I do remember Real Radman saying like, not sure. And that for me, and this is not, don't take it like 100%, I hope I'm wrong, but I would assume that if you could hire drivers, they would have confirmed that because they did confirm other things that he talked about. And that's what I mean. You have to learn to decipher uh, what you're reading, what you're hearing. And I can tell a lot, by certain things like that. That to me is a huge part of team ownership. And if, you know, nobody can solidly confirm it, you know, I have to assume that you can't hire other drivers. That to me is a huge, huge letdown. Is that going to kill my excitement for everything else? No, it's not. But it's something that kind of brings it down from here to here. That's a big problem because what's the point of making, yeah, there's the other things do add a lot to the game, but as an owner, why I want to be able to not only drive for myself, I want to have another car, like multiple people on my team and have other drivers driving for me under contract. Um, I want to be able to not just follow what I'm doing through the stats and the standings and fighting for a championship and for points and trying to get prestige for my sponsors, but I want to be able to follow my drivers who are under contract to me as an owner. That would add so much to the game. That feature alone. So when it's and like I said, this isn't 100%. Like they might come out. I'm hoping that they do come out and say, yeah, that you're gonna be able to hire drivers. Yes, that is part of. That would certainly help. I want to know. And if you can't hire drivers, 704 needs to come out and make that statement because keep in mind, like I said before, this is not a story driven game. This isn't the type of game where, okay, as a developer, we don't want to tell everyone everything because it'll spoil the game. That's not what this type of game is. This is a sports title. We know what we're getting when we buy this game. It's a sport. There's nothing to really spoil. In fact, the more information you withhold from us, it's worse, because what happens is people build up an expectation, unrealistic expectation of certain things, and when they play the game, even if it's a good game, they're just going to think about the things that they just found out after buying the game that it's not in the game. That's a problem. And whether you want to say it's fair or unfair to the developer, I'm sorry, but you're putting yourself in that position, and then you don't want people to walk away saying 704, these guys are dishonest, or they overhyped the game. They led us to believe certain things, and whether or not they consciously are overhyping or leading us on in certain ways, they know that people are automatically going to make assumptions. They have to know that. And as a developer, you have to be conscious of that. This is why I have such a problem with 704's marketing. I mean, since the first game, it's always been a problem. I don't like that. And I think the more honest you could be with us, tell us, don't just tell us what's in the game, tell us everything, but tell us what's not in the game. You know damn well people think that this game is supposed to be a big leap in graphics because you announced that uh, you're using the updated version of the Unity engine. Now, I did my part. I think I did the best I could. I've made videos on it. I've talked about this whole game engine debate. I've told people that you cannot, it is nearly impossible to make huge improvements in graphics when you're building off a, a game from year to year, and simply changing a first of all, I'm not even sure you can change a game engine because the game is built on the DNA of a specific engine from the start. The reason that they were able to now use the updated Unity engine is because the Unity and updated engine is still based on the old engine, it's just improved. So it shares the same DNA. So I can see why they can go in there and use the updated version, but it's not a magic wand that automatically improves all the graphics. That's not how it works. I've already went into great detail about it in several videos. But in spite of that, I see in a lot of comments, not just in my videos and stuff, in other videos, because I do constantly look for information, and I do watch almost everyone who posts a video. I'm watching it at some point, but I always see the same thing. Or somebody, who, even the YouTubers themselves, they'll talk about the graphics, and you know, and I've told you guys, it's just, you might see small improvements here and there, but there's a limit to what you can do. The only way you're going to see a huge difference or upgrade in graphics is to rebuild the entire game from scratch. That's not going to happen. It's not even worth contemplating or talking about because it doesn't make sense. Not in a business sense. It just doesn't. And for several reasons. We are, I believe, in the last couple of years of this console current gen, the life cycle of this current gen. I do think that within at 2 to 3 to definitely by 3 years, we're gonna have next gen consoles. The PlayStation 5 is already well into development. So it would be incredibly dumb for 704 to abandon what they've started building with Heat Evolution. And as bad as that game was, as bare bones as it was, I called it a glorified demo, which it is. But in spite of it, I also said this does have the structure for something promising. And what they've shown with NASCAR Heat 2, and now with what little information we know about NASCAR Heat 3, is that they really are building upon that and going in a very strong and positive direction. So you have to you got to be realistic, and we're not going to get everything we want. But when I see a lot of the stuff they're trying to do, I have to look at the glass as half full. A lot of people are looking at it as half empty because you have unrealistic expectations and you're making assumptions that I've tried my best. I've been telling you guys, you gotta, if you want to enjoy this game, you really gotta get over the graphics. Personally, I don't, I'm not saying the graphics, I want better graphics just like anyone else, but I don't think it's terrible. I think if they do a good job with the rest of the game, fleshing it out, getting things to work better, there are a lot of issues. But if they can at least do a commendable job at it, they're not going to be able to fix everything. But I promise you, the game will still be a huge improvement, even with the same graphics. I have seen some small improvement in graphics only with the stuff that was added this year, the new content, things like the dirt tracks and stuff like that. It's not a huge leap, and but I knew it wasn't going to be. I warned you guys. I've told you guys repeatedly. I've explained this game engine debate. It's and people have been blaming the game engine for everything since the first game. And I told you guys, it's not that. It's the decisions and the vision of the developer and what they decide to do with this game that's going to really decide whether this thing is actually a great product or not. And they're headed in the right direction. But this graphics thing, it's not, I'm not saying I don't care, but I realize it's not worth uh, obsessing over when I know and I understand that they're not going to be able to just magically make everything look way better. They can do little things to polish it up. That's about it. So the sooner you can come to grips with that and just say, you know what, it is what it is. Let me see, let me look at everything else that's here, that's being, offered to us. And if you can't enjoy it, that's fine. Maybe I won't like this game. I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I do like what they're trying to do. I support it. And if I was in charge, I wouldn't rebuild this game from the ground up just to make great graphics. It makes no business sense. You would be flushing down the toilet all the work you've been doing for the past 3 years. Also, you have to realize that not only is this a yearly title, and it's not really a year of development. We don't know when they started working on this game, but I could damn sure guarantee they didn't start working on this game the day they released NASCAR Heat 2. They were working on a couple of patches and DLC. For better or worse, that's the way these guys are doing business. Who knows when they actually got down and started work on this game that's coming up. So at best, if I was guessing, this game is probably going to have a total of 7 to 8 months of work. That's not a lot of time in video game development. It's not. So this is a continuing growing build, and it's every sports title is the same. MLB The Show, NBA 2K, even EA Sport. It doesn't matter. That's how these sports games work. They release these games every year, and you're never gonna get a huge graphical leap. You're not gonna get a huge improvement. They try to bring new features, change certain things, and that's the most they can do year to year until they rebuild a game from the ground up. Now, if these next gen consoles are on the horizon, and I would say between 2 to 3 years, we're gonna see the next gen consoles released. At some point, 704, if they're serious and they're still in this for the long haul, they're gonna say, okay, we have to start development for the next gen console. That's when they from from the initial build is when they can focus on graphics and all these other things that people rightfully so are going to expect to be next gen. So that's all I have to say. And I still see, and it's not going to stop. I know it. And when this game comes out, people are going to be complaining about the graphics because they don't want to understand that just because they're now using the updated engine that you're going to get great graphics. That's not how it works. So partially, this is also 704's fault because when you make that announcement and you tell everyone that, yeah, we're using the updated Unity engine, and they actually talked about lighting, which I do kind of see a little bit of a better lighting because the daytime shots of the track do look a little more dynamic. Nothing major, nothing really to brag about, but it's something. But they do kind of let you believe that you should expect a big graphical upgrade, even though they don't tell you that. And this is what I tell people: you have to understand how to decipher information. And yes, this when it comes to that, I do blame 704. They should know better. They should know that they should know how we are as just consumers. That if you allow us to get carried away, we're gonna get carried away. So it's your job to be honest. And I think that, and I'm not saying that 704 is purposely trying to be dishonest, but they're playing this in between game. Like they want to tease you with stuff to get you excited, but then when they see people what direction people are going with it, then they're like, oh well, I don't know why people are assuming things. We didn't say that. You can't have it both ways, and this is why I really suggest that 704 just say, here is a list, and talk about it. Release a video, that answers all these questions and tell us exactly line by line each feature, what's in the game, what's not in the game. You know damn well what things people want to know. If you put in this uh, ownership feature, people are going to want to know, can I hire drivers? You know, if I can only be a team owner who's the only driver is myself, that takes a lot out of it just takes a lot of excitement out of it. I'm not saying it kills it for me, but it takes a lot of excitement out of it. But it's better that we know now and not when we buy the game. That makes it worse. And it's going to make people feel like they were led on. And you can't just say, well, we never told you that you could hire drivers, so that's on you. That's not how it works. You have a responsibility to your consumers. And this is why developers like EA, Bungie, a lot of these developers, they have a terrible reputation because they lie to people, they overhype things, uh, and then on top of that, you got all this microtransaction garbage. People constantly feel like they're being lied to, and I'd rather have a developer tell me exactly what to expect and don't lie to us. We're still gonna go and buy this game and support the product if it's good. And like I said, I'm happy about the direction, about the effort going into at least trying to implement stuff that we've been wanting. And if you're honest with us, we're willing to cut you some slack, but you got to be upfront with people because people. I tried, I've done my part. You guys really should cut me a check because I've been trying to get people to calm down about the graphics because it's not realistic to expect a huge graphical upgrade. It's not. And I'm trying to explain to people this whole thing about the game engines. One second. Sorry, I got interrupted. I'm back. So, anyhow, Honesty is the best policy. And I suggest to 704 address every issue, every feature in the game. Tell us with where it can't be misinterpreted, right? And tell us what you did, what's to be expected in the game. You're not going to be spoiling anything for us. This is not a story-driven game, and if you're honest with people, I think you'll get a better reception. Um, and I'm still excited about the game, but there's still question marks, you know. And I've yet to really hear anything about the updated uh, engine sounds. No one's talked about spotter, and that's another thing. You guys have to do a better job communicating with people. Not everyone is on Twitter or Facebook. I'm not. I have to find information. It's hard to find information, and you have a website. Everything should be on your website. We shouldn't be running around looking for information everywhere. You guys got to do a better job. And I hope that the 704 releases information soon, and hopefully they'll release a video that talks about the features. Just sit down and go feature by feature and tell us more about it, and confirm certain things. And if there's something that's a question mark, and it's like this driver thing, if we can't hire drivers, please just tell us. I don't want to find out when I buy the game. And if we can't hire drivers, why? I don't understand. That is a huge thing. Now, if there's a licensing issue where people in NASCAR or sponsors don't want their drivers in other driving, a custom car for some, if it does have boiled down to licensing, you guys also have to sit down with NASCAR, with all these sponsors that when you make these deals, because as you develop these games, I'm sure you do have to communicate with these people because you need their permission. You got to get the licensing. I don't know how you work these things out, but you do have to address the issue that every time they put an obstacle or a roadblock, it just makes it worse for the game. And it really doesn't serve anybody if you do that, because you want this game to be the best it can be. And the more people that buy this game, the more people are going to be exposed to these sponsors' products. The more people are going to be exposed to NASCAR as a sport. And everybody needs that exposure and that coverage. Why in the world would you make it more difficult for a developer making a NASCAR game to do things that people want to do? What do you care if somebody signs Kevin Harvick to their car? It's mind-boggling to me. Sometimes I think these sponsors should pay the developer so they can have their name in the game. It's selling your fucking products. I don't understand this stuff. I don't want to get too deep into it, but 704, you should try harder to make it known to these guys. Look, the fact that your products are in the game, it promotes everything. You don't make it harder for us. People love customization. They want to be able to hire anybody they want if they could. That makes the game a better game. Now, I'm assuming that if there is no hiring of drivers, that it has something to do with licensing. I don't know. Also, you know, it, I'm looking at the ownership, and is it going to be that way? That it's just a one car team, and you are the driver and the owner, like I think Alan Kulwicki was. As an owner, you want to be able to expand to multiple teams and hire drivers. That's a big, big deal. And if it's not in the game, I really think you better have that one of the top things on your list for the next game. You got to make that happen. These are the type of details that can really hurt the game. We want more options, not less. So like I said, maybe they'll come out and they say, yeah, you can hire drivers and stuff. All this is in the game, and it'll go away. But the bottom line is, the point being, you guys got to talk about the features in the game, and don't hold information back. And if there are things that people, damn well people think might be in the game, don't leave that to interpretation. Be upfront, be honest. If certain things are not in the game, just tell us, explain, do what you can, because you want to build that trust with your consumers. And it, 704 is not EA. It's not one of these huge developers who can afford to do some shady stuff, and people, they're still going to make money. You have to depend on this, your consumer base, because it's not a huge consumer base. So you don't want to do anything to ruin that relationship or alienate people. And once people start saying, you know what, these guys are just a bunch of, they're like Bungie, who puts up these um, polished up videos from a high end PC, and then you find out later that's not how it's gonna look on the game console. They do that all the time. They're known for that, and that's bad. You don't want to gain a reputation for being dishonest or overhyping your product. We're NASCAR fans, and we desperately want to see good NASCAR products. But you got to be upfront and tell us what's in the game, what's not. And there's still 2 months to go, and I do assume they're going to really reveal information. But I hope that they don't keep playing this tease game or leaving things. Oh, we don't know yet, or come on, it's that's all I gotta say. And I just want people to understand that, yes, I'm excited, and what my excitement is based on are the things that are confirmed. Things that are yet to be revealed or confirmed, that's all in the air. And just like I'm excited, I could be unexcited as well. And this, just thinking about this thing, we may not be able to hire drivers. That's an unknown at this point. That bothers me. And if it turns out that you can't hire drivers, it's gonna suck, and it's gonna bring my excitement down, but it's not gonna kill it for me. And there's a lot that's been confirmed. So it's really a confusing time right now, because all we have is the trailer and these articles, which are really all over the place. And one of the articles, the guy that wrote it actually said, oh, the physics are as good as ever. What? That right there is a huge red flag. It just tells me that whoever wrote this article is not really into NASCAR games. I don't know how. It's just he threw that out there. It's like, oh, they said they improved the physics, which weren't, I don't think were that bad, but it's as good as ever. Don't quote me word for word. I might have misquoted it a bit, but that's the general sense of the article. In certain parts of it, those are the parts where I go, I know you're full of shit. So just because I'm excited about some things doesn't mean I believe all these articles. I'm smart enough to understand this relationship. And in order for these guys to get access to information, early access, so they can get people to come read their publications, there's a give and take. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So you're gonna get information. You might get to play the game early, but you got to be nice to us. You can't come out. When have you ever seen uh, early information in a publication and the guy's bashing the game? You never see that. And if it's happened, it's a rarity. Because if you bash the game or you say anything negative, these developers, they're just going to cut you off. They're like, okay, that's it. You'll never get invited again. You're not going to get early information. And it's not just the gaming industry. It's like this in Hollywood. It's like this in the music industry. The media and the industry, they're all in cahoots. And so you can't believe everything you hear or read. You do kind of have to learn to decipher between real hard information and speculation or hype. And that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. And I hope 704 comes out. They got to do a better job with the marketing and just talking about this game. And I implore you guys, just be upfront. You know, don't leave any question marks for us. The more information we have on the game, the better it is for us, the better it is for you, because people at least go in eyes wide open and they're not having unrealistic expectations. And that to me is key. And if I wasn't, if I was at 704 and I was in charge of marketing or whatever, that's how I would handle it. And I would have come out already and I would have said, look, we are using the updated Unity engine, but you can't just re-render the whole game and make it look completely different. That's not how it works. We've worked on adding some detail here, a little polish there. Some things might look a little different, other things they're just not. Where this is still a game based on the original build, and we're still building on it. And we're not going to be able to really upgrade everything unless we build the game from the ground up, which is not going to happen anytime soon. So we hope that you focus on the things that we are doing and adding to the game. We believe that we're going to make this game worthwhile. And that's how you handle things. But don't let people get carried away with their own imagination, because it's not going to work out well for anybody. So I did the best I could as far as the graphics and the game engine debate goes. I'm really tired of talking about it because it doesn't seem like a lot of people are really understanding it or getting. They just don't get it. And I've seen countless videos where people are complaining about the game looks just like last year. No shit. I've warned everybody. Then again, what am I talking about? Very few people have ever even heard of me or watched my videos, so I can't say like, oh, they heard what I said and they still. So maybe I'm off on that part, but still, I'm trying. What else can I do? So when new information comes out, I'll talk about it, and hopefully it's good, positive stuff to talk about. In either case, I look forward to your comments later.